viewers, I hope you are all fit and fine. Today we'll be describing one of the important topics, that is why it is always difficult to lay foundation in Middle East. What is the logic behind it? Naturally occurring soil is from the disintegration of rock. So the rock may be classified as number one, sedimentary. Another is metamorphic. Another is igneous. In my previous video, I have already mentioned about the origin of soil. The rock that is formed in the Himalayas traveled thousands and thousands of kilometers by the action of various transporting agencies. It may be air, it may be water, it may be under the action of gravity, it may be by means of human activity. This is mainly by the action of water and the air or wind. The rock that is formed in the Himalayas traveled thousands and thousands of kilometers, and due to heavy abrasive actions, various grinding takes place, and these boulders get crushed into several fragments, and ultimately when they reach to the plains, to the Gangetic plains, they got converted into a very finer materials. So now what happens when these finer materials get deposited into the sea? So let's see that. Suppose this is the river. This is the river, and this river is entering to the sea. So this is river, and this is Bay of Bengal. Bay of Bengal, or you can call it sea. This river is carrying a sediments, or you can say it suspended loads. This river is having a fresh water. Now please look at the attributes. The river, the suspended loads, the fresh water. And when this fresh water reach to this sea water, that is the saline water of the sea, what it happens? Actually, this fresh water means the density of the river water is much lighter than the density of the sea water. That is, if ρ1 is the density of the river water, and if ρ2 is the density of the sea water, then ρ2 must be greater than ρ1. So what does it implies? When the suspended load of a lighter phase meets to the heavier phase of a denser phase, their velocity get reduced, and the river that was carrying these suspended loads gets stuck up in the seawater, and the sedimentation process starts. So if this is the bed of the water body, that is water body bed, and if this is the water level, this is the level of water, so these fine grained particles that is carried by the fresh water of the river, when gets to the seawater, it starts depositing. It starts depositing in this way, and ultimately this type of things are formed. So what is the main logic behind this? This finely grained material that is transported by the river, when it comes to the denser water of the sea, they, by the action of the gravity or by the action of heavy pressure and low temperature, gets glued together by means of microbial activity or by means of other physical processes. As a result, these sedimentary rocks are formed, and these sedimentary rocks, by the action of pressure and temperature, gets converted into a metamorphic rock, and this metamorphic rock, by the action of heavy temperature, get converted into this igneous rock. And these sedimentary example of these sedimentary rocks are mainly claystone, limestone, mudstone, shells, and conglomerates. So, if we represent this sedimentary rock as S, this metamorphic rock as M, and this igneous rock as I, then it can be said that this S goes to this M, this M goes to I, and this I goes back to S by the function of temperature and pressure, and this may lead to the formation of soil again by the effect of all these conditions mentioned here. Now, what is the difference between rock and soil? Actually, rock can be cut, can be blasted, whereas the soil can only be excavated. In comparison to the texture, the rock is having a much stiff texture compared to the soil. But if you go to the mineralogy of rock and soil, you will find the mineralogy of rock and the soil is almost same because of the DNA. I've explained in my previous video that soil is the offspring of rock. Rock is the parent material that produces the soil. Similarly, in case of Middle East, we find in the Middle East, if you construct a foundation here, you will find this type of cavity in the sedimentary rock in the Middle East. These cavities are very notorious. Sometimes this cavity cannot be predicted or apprehended earlier, and sometimes these cavity, these void, may causes the caving of this foundation. That is why this foundation laying at Middle East is very difficult. Actually, how these things takes place, I have already told earlier how sedimentary rocks are formed. In the Middle East, the maximum rock that is found in the coastal areas are limestone. Mainly this limestone sitting in the coastal area by the ingress of the saline water of the sea has the tendency of eating up this limestone, forming a cavity by under a specific condition of temperature, pressure and humidity. This is known as lime dissolution. This is actually a natural phenomenon, and these things had rattled mainly all parts of UAE, Oman, Sharjah and Dubai. So that is the reason why it is very difficult to lay a foundation in the Middle East because nobody knows where the cavity has formed, and this cavity may be very dangerous because the entire foundation may cave in if this type of cavity appears in the middle of the sedimentary rock, that is the limestone. So I hope you have enjoyed the video. So if you were inspired, please like the video, share the video, do subscribe. This is the Chakravarti signing out till we meet again.